Raven is a possibility. He might go, under that. Diverge. I think he's a good possibility for it. Facile Vega is a good possibility. Gaelic Warrior will probably go. The Ballymore. Ransu Dairy ran well the other day. Hunter's Yarn is one that will go there. L.A. Tomps will go there. Imperial Pass will probably. We'll have to have a chat with Isaac and Simon and see what way they want to do to be splitting up. Well, normally our Moscow Flyer winner would go for the Supreme. However, he's shown he's no problem staying. And it might just let Dark Raven go one way, let Imperial Pass go another. I mean, if you go back to his first run last year, it was very, very good. And his jumping just let him down all the time. And his jumping has let him down again this year. I think once he, we always thought he was a grade 1 horse after his first run last year, but he hasn't got things together, and he got things together the other day, so then he got him out and got him on an even keel, and things just worked for him. But he's a live one. That's a big, I walk in the park. Things mightn't be as simple with him, but ball was easier when his chance was gone, and I think he still has the ability. I think we just have to get tactics differently. That's all. And I'm hoping there'll be plenty of pace in that race, so Paul won't be worried about having maybe a dodgy jumper in front of him. Might happen anyhow, but I think when you go back to where he came from last year in the bumper, I see no trouble dropping him in.
Are you keener on El Fabiolo, having watched John Bond?
I didn't see John Bond, but I've always been keen on El Fabiolo, and I go back to El Fabiolo's second run of his life, and John Bond to a short header or whatever, photo finish anyhow, in Aintree. So I'm thinking no matter what happens, he's right up there, and just depends on which horses improve most over the winter. And our fella seems to have come on a huge amount. So
there won't have been a better 2 mile race before than the Irish Arkle, like beforehand when you looked at the lineup. So to go and do what he did in that,
I mean, it looked so hot, though it did, and for him to come out with a performance like that was huge.
The Arkle with the Dice Out 9, I ran well in the last day furlong less in Cheltenham. Do you think that might suit?
Yeah, I think so. I often wonder the extra furlong in Leopardstown, probably tells you that your horse is going to want 2.5 the following year, if not that year. It's a tougher test, but he ran well, and I think the track that the Arkle is running in Cheltenham will suit him better, so which will bring him right into the race, I think.
He's hardened himself.
Yeah, but there's more turning and jumping, I think, in Cheltenham, and that will suit him. Maybe not do what happened last year, take on something that's in front, but that'll be up to whoever rides him as well.
In terms of your planning as well with various horses, and like I'm thinking of Appreciated, who you were thinking might need to step up.
I imagine Appreciated will step up, yeah. After the other day, he's 9 now, he's probably just not as fast as he used to be, so it's sort of nearly a given that he's going to run in that, he'll, what is it, the Turners?
Yeah. Wasn't he one that even over the 2 miles, though, that a little dig in the ground did suit him, or that his best form is on?
I think for jump racing you want a good dig in the ground.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, he is a big unit too, and he'd appreciate it, but it would, it's a concern, but especially, once racing starts, then it's very hard to water, so it is, unless they...
encourages you about what you've seen with Snake Man so far, his progress?
Well, everything he's done, and the fact that I think there's more in him, that he's a very deep horse. I've never seen him and said that's as high as he can go. I think he's got improvement still left in him.
Oban, will he go as well?
I imagine he'll go. There's nowhere else really for him to go. So he'll take his chance there too.
Do you think State Man is a hurdler, or will he go chasing next year?
If he's able to beat
See how
Constitution
it
Hill,
goes.
that'll be enough. I think you see him as a hurdler, but he's a good jumping family. But I imagine he'd stay hurdling. Yeah. When you get a good hurdler, it's good to keep them. Good to keep them hurdling. It's easier to keep them sound, and you know the pattern for the races is there. It's much easier rather than having to go novice chasing. I think.
Different scenario, you're an underdog going into a race,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
kind
which
of
is good.
unusual. Do you like that, mate?
Well, it's good for us, I think. Put the pressure on Mr. Buckley and Mr. Henderson.
Will your
Yeah.
after party be as good as his?
Don't know now. It'll be a close run thing, I think. He'll probably be all at each other's party anyway, so it doesn't matter. So.
What are your tactics away for that race? Reckon you drive loads of them? Because you did say to us at the that you, when Paul said he was going to make the run, you were a bit,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
But there's an inside.
We'll just see what's in the race. You don't know until you line up, but obviously Constitution Hill, he made the running the last few times, but he might change his tactics for because they'll be looking at what's in the race, what's likely to make the running, what's not likely to make the running, and it'll be, it'll be up to the jockeys, I think. Paul, we'll have a chat with it before, but Paul will have something in his mind because he'll know more about the opposition than I will, and the way the riders ride. You take everything into account, but I think the basic thing is keep out of trouble. And I think that's what Nico likes to do. Just keep out of trouble and let it be a horse race. Just let the best one win. Sharjah at the moment, I think he's in the champion hurdle. I think possibly he should go. Would he go for the stairs? I don't know, but he's in it. But maybe I'll stay for the. Maybe I'll just keep him in the champion hurdle. He runs well around there on the first day, and
I only be a few numbers in it.
yeah.
Looking like about 5 or 6 decided.
That's it, so he's entitled to take his chance in it, I think, and you never know what can happen on a day or on a race. Huge.
Would Brandy Love go to Punchestown, or would she go straight?
I want to try and go to Punchestown with her if I can. I know it's the wrong way around, she prefers going left-handed, but I'd like to get a run into her. That's my aim this minute, yeah.
It's developing into, look, people have their own opinions, but what's your view on the way the Mayor's race is
The Mayor's race
positioned?
could be the hottest race of the festival. It's
Do you think it's a good thing?
I was aiming Brandy Love, and I thought Brandy Love had a great chance of winning it, but the next thing, Epitante comes back, Honeysuckle is coming back, and now...
Mary's Rock. Mary's Rock.
Yeah.
Invalid.
I mean, but they were all in it before, but now these two have come back into it, and wow, it's going to be some race. So it's extraordinary, all the way people sort of slated the race. But races take time to develop and people to get used to them. And now it looks like it's going to be one of the races of the festival, one of the most open races, and yeah, that does.
Can you understand the decision to send Honeysuckle to the race that it looks like it's most likely for her to win?
Well, we do that ourselves a lot of the time, and I'm sure they're going to do whatever they want to do, but they can still change their mind if they want to. I don't know how she works at home and what barometer Henry and Kenny will use. They've stated they want to go to it, but I wouldn't be closing the door on the other race. You never know what happens.
And will Echoes and Rain go that route, more than likely?
She's one that poses a problem. She disappointed us there last year. I think she's way better than what she did last year. And we have the Mayor's Hurdle in mind for all season. But her run the other day was good, and she's going for the Mayor's Hurdle, but you never know if the champion hurdle breaks up for whatever reason. Maybe she should have another crack at it. But I did think last year that she just wasn't sharp enough over 2 miles, but we changed a few things around and she looked good the other day. So.
Ask Just you mentioned the novice chasers there. Likes of Sir Gerhard, Guy de Maynil, Ramillies, James de Burley, and Kilcrut. Where are they all headed?
Ooh. Does anyone know what Patrick is riding in the Sorry?
Guy.
You see, there you are, but Gaillard could be our best chance in the RSA, but he'd obviously our best chance in that race too. I imagine, I don't know what to do with Sir Gerhard yet. He's inexperienced. Is he better off going for the 2.5 with less jumping and take a chance, or go 3 miles where you've more jumping but going slower? So that one has to be sorted out. What were the other ones you mentioned there?
Ramillies.
Ramillies, I think a trip. So he'd be either, what do they call the RSA now? It's Brown Advisory, yeah. Brown Advisory, or he'd go 3 or National Hunt Chase.
James de Burley.
James de Burley, he could go the Turners or the Brown Advisory.
And Kilcrut.
Kilcrut, I would think the Turners. Yeah, I would think now that's what I'm thinking this minute. Yeah.
Different scenario, you're an underdog going into a race,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
kind
which
of
is good.
unusual. Do you like that, right?
Well, it's good for us, I think. Put the pressure on Mr. Buckley and Mr. Henderson.
Will your
Yeah.
after party be as good as his?
Don't know now. There's be a close run thing, I think. He'll probably be all at each other's party anyway, so it doesn't matter. So.
What are your tactics away for that race? Can you drive loads of them? Because you did say to us at the end that when Paul said he was going to make the run, you were a bit,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
But there's
We'll just see what's in the race. You don't know until you line up, but obviously Constitution Hill, he made the running the last few times, but he might change his tactics for because they'll be looking at what's in the race, what's likely to make the running, what's not likely to make the running, and it'll be, it'll be up to the jockeys, I think. Paul will have a chat with it before, but Paul will have something in his mind because he'll know more about the opposition than I will, and the way the riders ride. You take everything into account, but I think the basic thing is keep out of trouble. I mean, I think that's what Nico likes to do. Just keep out of trouble and let it be a horse race. Just let the best one win.
What about the white hurdles?
Yeah, I mean, we've got white hurdles here, white fences, and we put them in, and then we go to Cheltenham and they have green aprons as they always had, but I think I was taken aback because when I checked then after that, because we were told everything was brown and white, or black and white, and then they of course kept their green aprons, but I think they're one of the only tracks in England that kept the green aprons, and all our aprons were green, but we've changed them to brown, so now I'm going back to green and white. It shouldn't be a problem, but I just said to our guys, let's just paint some of them white, some of them orange, so that the horses, a bit like our canine friends out there, they get used to them, and they don't mind them, So I hope it's not an issue, but I see somewhere...
Tara O'Keefe.
Yeah, he said it could be an issue, more of an issue, but like we go to France and they're white and brown over there, and it doesn't seem to, we've never worried about it before, and I wasn't worried about it with Energy Mean, but he did make that mistake, and it is, when you go down to the first hurdle, you want to get your position on the first fence in those shorter races. You don't want to miss it. He missed the first one there.
Why do you think that it was the white fence that caused an argument to make a mistake?
I think he just made strange at it, like a horse will, the first time they come to something, it was white and green, and he jumped in white and black, and horses are very nervous animals by disposition, and they look at something strange, they look at it and say, what's that, so maybe it wasn't, maybe he just made a mistake, I don't know, but we're gearing up to have everything right for it. I remember when orange came in, they said orange is way better than white, and some professor in some university said at the time, this is the way to go, orange. And it probably in some old Sporting Life articles, but they're probably not on the internet now, but there is a study done, there was a study done at that time to say that orange was the way to go and it's the only way to go, and white was stupid. And horses jump way better over orange. And now there's another study the other way around, you know, it's just a change of colour. Horses, when you change, if you put blue poles over it, or whatever other colour, orange, not toe boards, horse, you know, they will jump better for a week or two, but then they maybe get used to it. I mean, they'll all get an entry, but obviously it's for me fun, put herself right in the picture, because I thought she'd be only 3 parts ready, and if she jumped in below the second last hurdle, when she blew up, I mean, she blew up coming out of the backstretch, and Paddy just gave her a little easy, and next thing she filled her lungs and away with her, you know, that was a huge performance, I thought. And there was so much strength and depth in that race. You know, you had last year's winner in it, and all the rest of them were winners. So we'll see. I hope we have 1 or 2 more. I think we have 1 or 2 more to go. And Nicky Watson was there. Chapeau Salil. I think they'll all qualify. I think they'll all get in, even though they're maidens. But we'll see. We've got to see what the entries are like. You know, they're very good. They just, well, Nicky Watson was disqualified winner, and Chapeau Salil, what happened to him? What beat him?
Better Days Aid. Better Days Aid, Gordon's horse.
Right, yeah, so we think a lot of improvement in him, so we do. Bad news this morning, Allaho worked very well on Saturday, came back, dried off, put him into his box, fed him his lunch, and after lunch we found him a little bit distressed, thought he was getting a colic, but it didn't look like a colic, it was something else, and we just got him straight down to Feathered Equine Hospital, and he's got a bleed in his abdomen, which is hugely unusual. I don't think I've ever seen it in a horse before, but he was sort of comfortable over the weekend, but still critical. So I think this morning he moved off the critical list. His bloods and everything have come down to normal levels. I got good word from the veterinary hospital this morning. So, but unfortunately he won't make Cheltenham. I imagine that's him for the season, because you never know. We don't know what caused the bleed. There's no fracture or anything, but something caused it, and that's going to take away the heel. So hopefully he makes a good recovery and maybe back for next season.
The Allaho injury, will that rejig your thoughts on Champion Chase,
Well,
Ryanair runners, and
yeah, it certainly brings Blue Lord into the Ryanair, I think, but we haven't discussed that with anyone yet. But
okay,
that's the first thought I think that would go through your head, you know. So we'll do that.
and you wouldn't be swapping a potential Gold Cup horse back that way?
I don't think so. What had you in mind?
No, it's just.
Well, Statler and Galvin Champ, they won't go back. No,
Yeah, they won't.
no, they're both Gold Cup horses. Classical Dream, good. I wouldn't say he's a runner by any means, but he's doing the right stuff. And if I have to wait for Aintree or Pontiac with him, that's fine too. And I don't want to rush him, so I don't. Monkfish did a bit of work on Saturday, and I'd have to say it was the first time I've seen Monkfish back to himself. So he's made huge progress. So he had, you know, I didn't give him much chance of making Cheltenham. Probably still don't, because it's a very big ask. I don't think I'm going to get a run into him before the festival, and I don't know if I want to bring him over there. He'd probably be looking more like a stairs hurdle rather than the Gold Cup if he was going. But to run in a stairs hurdle first time up on the preparation he's had, I know we did it with Penhill, but Penhill was fitting well all winter, and we got lots of hard work into him. Not sure I want to do with it Monkfish, but good news is that he did a really good bit of work on Saturday. So, and he's fine this morning. Fingers crossed, stays fine. You know.
Would you make Punchestown maybe?
That's my big aim, is to go to Pontistown. Now I was like, he came forward so much over the last few weeks. If he keeps coming that way, fair enough, but I wouldn't be putting any money on him at this stage now to, you know, It's, as I said, it's sort of 60-40 against him making it, so it's getting more 50-50, but a horse of his calibre, I don't want to rush it. And you put him into the sort of...
Has his progress surprised you? Because
It has,
more or
yeah.
less last
That's
year,
what his work on Saturday morning surprised me, and he's coming the right way. So I think he's really on course for Hunterstown and maybe even a run before it. But if there was something there,
Webster Cup or something like that.
something like that, yeah, or might just stick over hurdles for the season. I don't know. Just go and mind him. Anyway, that's a progress report on that guy.
How about the Mayor's Novice Hurdle then? Astro Diamond, obviously lovely bit of form. And behind good horses at Christmas, and then Night and Day, Lot of Joy, Cadarev.
Yeah, C'est la Vie. That's what we entered this morning. What time is it now? Well, the entries are, well, they close in England tomorrow, so but we just do it today. So all those are entered. They all, I mean, Lot of Joy, Paris Class, Ashrow did it well the other day. I think ground will come into a lot of that depending on the ground on the day, you know. I think.
Which would you be looking for each in terms of ground?
I think I'd like nice ground for all of them, to be honest. I don't want a bog. But they all have their chance, but it's just harder to turn up sometimes with novice mares. You know, we've sent some really hot ones there over the years and ended up winning it with 33-1 shots, you know, so they can go like the clappers in that race, and sometimes mares just don't get home. They're not as strong and something comes from the clouds. But that too is getting up in quality every year, that race, so it is. Some very nice mares in England as well.
Night and Day was good the last day.
Yeah, you know, she's a big strong mare that'll want to keep an eye out for jumping next year over fences. But a Lot of Joy was good as well, Astro Diamond. They've all had good prep runs.
How about the Triumph Hurdle then, in terms of obviously
Well,
Lossy Mouth,
Club Destiny, Gavin Soul. What else have we there?
Tikal, is that going to go to
No, I
Bills?
imagine he will go. He'll probably go for Blood Boots.
Built our
I hope Lossiemouth didn't have too hard a race for a 3-year-old, 4-year-old filly. But she's very level-headed, and I think she'll be all right. We've got enough time.
Would Blood Destiny be as good as Lassie?
Blood Destiny has a lot of ability. I think up on the 4-year-old hurl the other day in Nice, was he 20-25 minutes behind him?
Oh, Sir Alan.
Yeah.
Sir Alan, yeah.
He's a lot of ability, and I didn't want to run him against those hurdlers. I said we'll keep one of them fresh. So
He's good, isn't he?
he's a good horse, very good horse.
Are you happy with your Green Cup team?
Yes,
Small but select.
Yeah, I think I've two real good shots. Gallopin, I think, will stay, and we know Statter will stay, and he's improving lovely, coming along lovely. You know, and that can be a battle of attrition. And he's won around the track, jumps well. I don't know what price he is, but he's probably a good each way price. You know, so he's Gallopin is probably going to be very tight for people to back, but if you want a good run for your money, I'd take the other fellows. He's going to be there, thereabouts.
Is that still the race for you of the week? By the time it comes to Friday, we're all shattered, exhausted. That's just journalists.
Yeah.
You're probably shattered as well, but...
Yeah, but no, I mean, I gave up on winning the Gold Cup years ago, and then
then won it.
twice. So yeah, I don't think about things like that. I mean, obviously Gallopin's going to be on my mind, and Facile, Gallopin, State Man, you know, they're the top three, I think, and then you've got Lossiemouth and El Fabiolo, you know, so over half those are going to be beaten, so just hope the great to get the big ones if we could, you know.
So he seems a lot measured this year. Is that you
Yeah.
kind of done at home and kind of
Yeah, we
take that figure
we've just tried to keep the lid on him, and that's the way Paul has been riding him, and that's the way he raced in John Durkin. You know, so, and then the other day in Nepetown he did the same thing, and we're very happy that he's like that. I think Paul was very happy that it took him a while to get going, but you don't want to sharpen them up too much, especially for Gold Cup. You just want them, you want stamina, relaxation to be the keys, and he'll have plenty of time to get going, you know.
Allegory Vassie is number one.
Yeah, she looks like huge talent, so she does. Key around would make her very competitive in that, but then again she is just a novice. We have Ellie May ran a cracker, I thought ran a cracker the other day, and I thought it flagged her before racing that she'd missed a bit of time, and I needed to get the run into her, so we got the run into her. I love the way she travelled over the 4th last and the 3rd last, and I thought she was going to get into the race, and then she just, you could see as she turned for home, took a blow, and so I think that'll bring her on hugely. What else have we in that? I have 3 or 4 entries for it. Don't see that missed her race the other day. She just had a little leg infection, but she's coming right. And she probably wouldn't have been fast enough over 2 miles for the Opera Hat, but 2.5 in Cheltenham will be fine. I'm probably asking the wrong lad, because if I know Ruby, David, Casey and Patrick, they probably have 1 or 2 held back there somewhere, not even telling me. So they can, I just hope every year we've been lucky with our novices going into handicaps. They're making it a bit more difficult now, having to have 4 runs. But you know, I suppose they're the key horses. Look to our novices, they're the ones that normally win the handicaps for us. So if we have novices in, what do we run the other day? Spanish Harlan for his 4th run. So
that's alright.
does he go? Is he good enough to go for the Martin Pipe? He's a real chaser in the making, and whatever he did this year would be huge. But